Didn't come soon enough for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that lost 10 consecutive games to end last year. Raheem Morris is out. Greg Schiano is in. And speaking of in, there is Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Rick, thank you for being with us. And let's start with the head coaching situation. We'll see how the Greg Schiano era plays out here when the games get going. But just from a feel of training camp, a feel of being around the team, describe the difference, if you can, between the Raheem Morris regime and now Greg Schiano leading the way.
Well, I guess night and day might be the obvious one. But Greg Schiano really came in here and wanted to change the culture of this football team. There's a reason why they picked him. He's a disciplinarian. He's obviously very organized. And almost from the first day, you know, Kellen Winslow, when he was traded, made some comments about how Greg was toes on the line, toes on the line. Well, they have to toe the line with Greg Schiano. He also did some things personnel-wise that have made a big difference, or I think will make a big difference. They got some free agents for a change. They have a number one receiver in Vincent Jackson. They got Carl Nix, a big offensive lineman as well. And then on defense, they got Eric Wright, who will help them at corner, allow Ronnie Barber to move to safety. They're counting on some guys coming back. But culturally, just the discipline, guys having to be on time, all those things, it's going to make a difference.
If you took all the young quarterbacks who've been in the league for, let's say, 5 seasons, Rick, at the beginning of last year and said, these are promising young quarterbacks on the way up, none took a bigger step back than Tampa Bay's quarterback, Josh Freeman. What's the key to his game coming back and moving in the right way this year?
Well, he really did take a step back. There was a lot of reasons for that, not having an off season, the lockout, obviously, a young team that didn't show up really in shape. Sometimes the 3 worst words in football are, I got it. And some of those guys thought they had it, but they didn't. Guys like Mike Williams and some others. But Josh Freeman has a new offensive coordinator in Mike Sullivan, a new quarterbacks coach in Ron Turner. The biggest thing is about the weapons. They want to make Josh Freeman successful. They brought him Vincent Jackson. They brought him Carl Nix. And a running back they took in the first round in Doug Martin that can play on all 3 downs to give him somebody to check the ball to. Kellen Winslow is gone. Now you have Dallas Clark, a guy who played with Peyton Manning. Obviously, Mike Sullivan did a great job with the Giants, and Eli Manning. And Josh Freeman has rededicated himself as well. He's lost some 20 pounds. He's down to about 235. He looks great. He feels great. Now he just has to play great.
Josh Freeman disappointed last year, Rick, but the defense in Tampa Bay was terrible. Last scoring defense, last in rushing defense. Are the pieces in place now to believe this unit can go from really poor to decent?
Well, they really didn't do a lot for the new defensive coordinator, Bill Sheridan, in the offseason. I don't know if they're in place. The question is, how long will they stay in place? Because Gerald McCoy and Brian Price really haven't been able to stay on the field. They've not been healthy. Gerald McCoy missed most of last season. He's torn both biceps in each season. He only has 4 sacks. He was the 3rd overall pick. Brian Price, of course, has had these issues as well. And really, they had a middle linebacker that was a rookie last year in Mason Foster. That didn't pan out very well. He didn't have an off season. Now they bring in Levante David, who's going to play the weak side linebacker position from Nebraska. Greg Schiano is familiar with him. He recruited him out of high school. And Mark Barron, the guy in the middle of the defense, the Alabama safety, is a real hitter. He's an enforcer. He can come down in the box. They think they're going to be better, but those guys up front have to be better if they're going to win any games.
Nowhere to go but up for that defense, certainly. Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
And we are waiting for the arrival of Peyton Manning and his Denver Bronco teammates, the very first training camp practice.